Alright, welcome back to Perdido Key Gaming. We're back to some fantasy role-playing stuff. This is my world for what I'm thinking of, my Rollmaster 2 campaign. Once I get everything going, it'll be, you know, I think pretty encompassing, But anyway, so this is the map of the world. It's done in fractal terrains. Highly recommended. It's pretty cool, pretty fast. You can generate multiple worlds, tweak the parameters. You can, get rid of parts of the map that you don't like. You can create more terrain if you want. You can modify the terrain, lower mountain ranges, raise up mountain ranges, all sorts of stuff. So this particular view, there's multiple views. This particular view, I believe, is called Gaia. You can do other views like the actual biomes, or whatever you want to call them, climate. What is it called? Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, but it comes with a key, so you can see. So there's, you can see where there's grasslands, where there's types of forests, alpine, tundra, frozen wastes, as it were. And like I said, there's a key, desert chaparral. There's other views like this one. I think this is altitude, that sort of thing. So you can see where there's huge mountain ranges and little mountain ranges and things like that. So and you can see the altitudes, of when you're in fractal terrains, to see which, where you can lower stuff. And, an example here is the main, there's another hit. This is a scan in of my planning map, as it were. And you can see that this scale this is about 4,000 miles across. So this is kind of a big ocean, but there's one thing you don't see, and that's connection with the other oceans, right? So, the other oceans, usually oceans are going to be connected in somehow. So what you can do is in fractal terrains, you can actually lower the terrain so that the sea, you get some sort of connections, which is what I should have done, but I had a better idea, and I'm not going to go into it right now, but I had a better idea, and I thought it might be kind of cool. Yeah, underground seas. That, I'll just say it that way, that way it gives, there's, that's some other adventure ideas. So anyway, so it's my planning map, like I said, drew out by hand, obviously Sharpie of some sort, but and labeled everything here. We've got all sorts of races in this general area. I think that's fair. 4,000 miles is quite a large area, so there's plenty of room to put in all sorts of stuff. So what I've done is basically, in my idea, sort of like Shadow World, there's 3 ages and there's cataclysmic, So my thoughts are there were cataclysmic wars and events in the past, and the men basically were whittled down to, or descended from, original beings or whatever that were placed into areas by fate, or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, they evolved into men. They evolved into dwarves and elves and halflings and gnomes and various other things from the original races on the world, and beings who were created in the far distant past. So thousands and thousands of years later, men grew up in this homeland and then spread out. This particular variant of men, I have, I think, 7 various homelands where they all spread out and became different, versions of men. So here my dog's barking in the background. Great, thanks. Cats must be irritating him. But yeah, they grew up from here and then ended up going to the south, to the north, and to the east, and spreading out that way. We've got, some islands here, gray elves. We've got gray elves here. We've got dwarves down here, living in dwarven city-states and mountainous areas. We got some more men here. We've got Volfin tribes. We've got Divia tribes, which are cat people. But one by one, let's see here. This is a human empire, big, influential, but it's very ancient. So it's got its own problems because it's ancient and overgrown. We've got some let's see, these should be the gnomes down here, the halflings up here. We've got some offshoots of that particular mannish race right here. They built their own empires, kicked out, whatever you want to call it, down here. Their descendants, their cousins are up here. This particular variant of men ended up being very they ended up being very tribal, as it were, very nationalistic. So they ended up with a number of different countries and nations growing up around this ginormous, deep, dark forest here. We've got some wild elves in here and some primal men, We've got, let's see, 39 is the 1,000 Kingdoms. You got Hillmen and tribes, not tribesmen, but plainsmen here. That's called the 1,000 Kingdoms because, basically they're very small dominions and things like that. Some big, some small. They're always infighting, always disappearing, always growing up. People taking over. So it's, this should be a pretty fun place to adventure in. Let's see, we go over here to 44, and this area is the encroaching dark forces and evil men, orcs, trolls, goblins, what have you. In 26 and 27 are basically city-states or nations that are holding off the orcish forces. So that's another adventure area. We've got some, piddly kingdoms here. This is, of course, the Pirate Coast. This is where the adventures are going to kick off. We've got some other, holds and steadfast down here. 36 is Minotaurs. Gotta love them. They're not the typical fantasy type. We've got, kind of a tribal Minotaur situation, but they've been pushed together into an empire by, an ancient Minotaur, hero that brought them together, and now they're, constantly irritating everybody else. But they're intelligent. They're not, they're not stupid. We've got another offshoot of the men. These are city-states, kind of a combination between ancient Greece and ancient Rome. And they're heavy into magic, mentalism primarily, but you have to be licensed to practice magic. So, some adventurers could conceivably get in a lot of trouble over here. Let's see, what else? Oh, I forgot to mention about these kingdoms up here. This is, all of this stuff is kind of European, but these guys up here have various martial arts that they're very nationalistic. Each nation has kind of its own national martial art. So that, that seems kind of funny, but yeah, it's fun. Gives, your martial artist a place to come from. Let's put it that way. Although if you think about it, on Earth, everybody's got kind of sort of a martial art. Even the French have a martial art. And we've got some, you know, hidden type things. These, this is going to be some high elves, maybe something like that, that are, you know, have set up a post, and they're keeping an eye on the Empire and everything else going on in this area. So maybe not getting too involved, but anyway, so you know, we got some lizardmen. We've got some, you know, some sea elf type situation down here. We got the dwarves. We got some more mountain living men over here. Some, you know, some interesting places for adventures to happen. And this is a blow up of the Pirate Coast here, and still in fractal terrains. When you can also export this to Campaign Cartographer and then build your own maps. So that's the idea. That's a work in progress. I'm not very good at it, so it's kind of frustrating for me. But you know, lots of YouTube videos out there and lots of help, and the company itself is very helpful, and they got a nice forum and everything like that, and you get good ideas about how to do things. But that's it for today. Just presenting my you know, campaign map or world map for campaigns and stuff like that, and hopefully we'll have more stuff coming on board to show you. Anyway, if you like what you see, please hit like, hit subscribe, leave me a note in the comments, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more